Hey guys, welcome back to another very interesting video of our channel Versatile Knowledge, and in this video I am going to be doing the complete comparison between the LG G8X ThinQ and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, a Chinese versus the South Korean smartphone comparison. Yes, this is what a person in our comment section actually had told us, and this sparked an idea inside my head to do this comparison. Well, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is available on flash sale on Amazon, whereas the LG G8X ThinQ is available for around 25,000 rupees on Flipkart and on Amazon, whereas the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is priced at around 20,000 rupees. First, let me talk about the build and design of the devices. LG has a Corning Gorilla Glass 6 on the front, Gorilla Glass 5 on the back, an aluminium frame with antenna lines, IP68 dust and water resistance, military grade standard 810G protection for drop and shock protection, a width of 75mm, 192 grams of overall weight. Whereas the Redmi has a Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front for protection, glass frosted back with no Gorilla Glass specification, and the plastic frame actually makes it look kind of cheap from the sides. Whereas this device also has an IP53 dust and water resistance, and it is just 8.1mm thin. It has 192 grams in terms of weight, and it has 76mm of width. Holding the phone, LG feels actually better because of the lesser width. In terms of design, Redmi is better, and in terms of build quality, LG is better just because it has a IP68 dust and water resistance. And when you hold the smartphone in your hand, the confidence you get from your smartphone and the way it feels more premium is LG, because it is a flagship grade smartphone, and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is actually a mid-range smartphone. And when I'm actually keeping the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max in my pocket of jeans, I actually have that anxiety that it might bend. Since the aluminium frame is present on the LG G8X ThinQ, I don't have that anxiety that the smartphone might bend. Durability tests also have denoted that the LG G8X ThinQ has an excellent build quality overall. But since we do not actually try to break our smartphones purposefully, I would say this round is kind of a tie, because the design is fantastic on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max and the build quality is fantastic on the LG G8X ThinQ. Now let's talk about the displays on both the devices. LG has a 6.4-inch OLED display and a 6.4-inch secondary OLED display, both made by LG themselves. It also has a small monochrome display on the front of the secondary display case. It is a 60Hz refresh rate display, and the quality of the display is great as well. It has a resolution of Full HD Plus, that is 2340 x 1080, and it gets quite bright enough, and also has a U-shaped notch for selfies, as well as it has an always-on display. Redmi, on the other hand, has a 6.67-inch Super AMOLED display, which is made by Samsung. It has 120 Hz high refresh rate, 240 Hz touch sampling rate, 1200 nits of peak brightness in auto brightness condition, which you can get to experience in outdoor lighting conditions, and it is just amazing. And it has a maximum display resolution of 2400 x 1080 and a single punch hole for selfie camera. All in all, Redmi has the clear advantage in terms of the display department, especially with that higher brightness nits in the outdoor lighting conditions, with the help of that higher refresh rate, better outdoor viewing, and amazing HDR10 capabilities as well. Strangely, after the MIUI 12.0.8 update on my unit, Redmi actually has decreased the wideband L1 version from L1 to L3, which is kind of frustrating. And LG, on the other hand, does not have support for the full HD playback on Amazon Prime Video platforms. In fact, LG doesn't even support HD on Amazon Prime Video platforms. It only plays at 480p on my unit. It plays full HD videos on Netflix and HDR videos on Netflix and YouTube and on other OTT platforms as well. Overall, in terms of the display department, I feel Redmi wins by a huge margin just because of the fact that the quality of the display and the overall brightness levels and the high refresh rate, especially at this price point, makes this round straight away go to the Redmi. Also, the amount of bezels that is present around the display is very less when compared to LG's 2019 standard display. And the display department actually goes to the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. Now let's talk about the performance on these two devices. You might actually tell me that this guy is insane, he's comparing a flagship device with a mid-range device. But the amount of developments that happen in the smartphone industry actually made me feel that a flagship processor of 2019 should be actually defeated by a mid-range processor of 2021 technically. But LG has a Snapdragon 855 octa-core 7nm processor with Adreno 640 GPU, 128GB of UFS 2.1 storage, 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM. And Redmi has a Snapdragon 732G, which is a 8nm octa-core SoC with 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM, UFS 2.2 based storage of 128GB. Redmi, since is a mid-range processor with 7 series chipset and LG is an 8 series chipset, LG feels way faster in terms of day-to-day app opening, gaming, and also in terms of thermal throttling. LG is lesser when compared to Redmi. As we saw the Geekbench scores and also the Antutu scores, Redmi is actually beaten by LG by a huge margin. LG scores at around 4.5 lakhs for the Snapdragon 855 and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max has scores of around 3 lakhs for the Antutu benchmark scores. And also in Geekbench, LG won by a good margin as well. And in terms of day-to-day transactions and in terms of gaming such as COD Mobile, PUBG Mobile has better sustained peak performance on LG than the Redmi smartphone. And also we have done a thermal throttling test which is conducted by this application called CPU throttling, and we have set the number of threads to 30 and the test time to 10 minutes. And after a prolonged duration of 10 minutes of continuous CPU usage without touching a smartphone, what we found out is the LG had dropped the performance to just 60% of its overall value under the time span of 10 minutes, whereas the Redmi dropped it to 49% of its max performance. So that means the thermal throttling actually happens more on the Redmi, and in order to maintain those temperatures, Redmi slows down in terms of performance, whereas LG has won in every single department in terms of app opening, restarting, gaming, everything. LG wins by a huge margin. Flagship 8 series processor actually gets the cake in this round, and the LG G8X ThinQ beats the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max in this performance round of our tests. Once we talk about the performance, battery goes hand in hand. And the Redmi has a 5020 mAh battery with 33 watt fast charging, and LG has a 4000 mAh battery with 21 watt fast charging and support for wireless charging up to 9 watt, and also supports USB Power Delivery 2.0 and USB Quick Charge 4.0 standards as well. In terms of battery and charging, Redmi beats LG by a good margin since there is only one screen that it needs to power, and also the battery size is considerably larger. Redmi gave me an easy of 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, which actually was focused on YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, calling, browsing. Also the support for 33 watt fast charging on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max with the charger inside the box helped me to top up the battery of this Redmi from 0 to 100% in around 90 to 100 minutes. Whereas LG, the smartphone which I liked, does not come with a charger inside the box. And also 21 watt fast charging in today's standards, that is 2021 standards, is really slow. And also the battery performance with dual screens were not that good enough for me. So the battery round easily goes to Redmi in my opinion. And just because of the fact that it feels slimmer and lighter with a 5000 mAh battery inside it actually gave this smartphone a really good lead in my opinion. Now let's talk about the cameras on both these devices. LG's natural color signs, good pictures, stable camera performance in almost every lighting condition make the LG a better camera among the two smartphones. LG comes with a 12 megapixel f1.8 sensor with an optical image stabilization, 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 32 megapixel selfie camera with electronic image stabilization. This smartphone also supports 4K video recording from the front camera as well, and also support for video recording with external microphone from the default camera application is what made me decide that this is a better camera. Redmi, on the other hand, has a 108 megapixel Samsung's ISOCELL HM2 sensor with a f1.9 aperture, 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, 5 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel useless depth sensor, 16 megapixel selfie camera. Redmi has better normal camera performance due to the large size 108 megapixel camera sensor, but LG has support for 4K 60 fps with OIS, 4K 30 fps from front camera with EIS, stereo audio recording, support for external microphone on the default camera application. ASMR based video recording makes this device more versatile in terms of the cameras. What we found out is the camera performance in terms of the video quality of the Redmi is not so good when compared to the LG G8X ThinQ. We have also done a separate video which was completely shot on the LG G8X ThinQ. In fact, our last video which went live on our channel was completely shot on the LG G8X ThinQ with 4K 60 fps mode. Redmi has more features inside the camera application such as the clone mode, dual video mode, vlog mode, AI watermark, long exposure, time lapse, so on and so forth. But since LG has a flagship grade camera setup with flagship grade color and image processing, I feel the cameras on LG is slightly better when compared to the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. And we have done dedicated camera reviews for both the smartphones. I'll be linking them in the card section so that you guys can check it out. Now let's talk about the sound and speaker quality on both these devices. You might actually know that LG was one of the first or one of the few smartphones who emphasized on outstanding audio quality from the smartphone speakers. LG has stereo speakers with hi-fi audio support, 3.5mm headphone jack with 32-bit hi-fi quad DAC, tuned by Meridian Audio, ASMR recording and high quality audio recording via the inbuilt recording app makes this an amazing speaker and a headphone jack setup on this device. Whereas Redmi, on the other hand, also has an amazing stereo speakers, a DAC which is tuned by the default processor, that is the Qualcomm's DAC. Thankfully, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max also retains the most important part of a smartphone, that is the headphone jack as well. And also the audio that comes out of the headphone jack is also well tuned for an amazing sound and speaker experience on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. Now let's do a test of side-by-side comparison by listening to a music clip on both these devices via an external microphone so that we can judge the audio quality. After rounds and rounds of listening to music on both these devices, putting earphones on both these devices, what I would actually have an opinion is this round is kind of a tie, because the loudness and the depth and bass is slightly better on Redmi. The sound clarity is actually better on LG in real life conditions. And also it is really good to see that the mid-range smartphones are getting some amazing speakers these days. So I would say this round is a tie in my opinion. Now let's talk about the network and connectivity. LG G8X ThinQ is a 4G only device and it has no carrier aggregation on my unit. The Vivo Wi-Fi is supported. It has support for Bluetooth 5.0 and also with Qualcomm's aptX HD audio for richer audio via Bluetooth headphones. Redmi, on the other hand, is also a 4G only device which has support for carrier aggregation, voice over Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.1, dual band GPS and in this department, I feel it is a win for LG because of the call quality, the call reception, and ability to connect in low network areas such as garages, lifts, etc. And the call drops is way lesser when compared to the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. So this round I think is going to LG for my experience. Redmi, as I said in my previous videos as well, has more call drops in my experience, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this device is bad for calls or something. Redmi also has support for call recording via the Google Dialer application. Call recordings can be listened back via the call history in the Google Dialer application as well. Well, in terms of the network and connectivity department, the flagship grade call reception of LG made me decide that this smartphone is a winner in the network and connectivity department. Now let's talk about the software and UI. LG comes with the LG UX 10 based on Android 10 with over an 8-month-old security patch. No updates right from the time I bought this phone, but the software optimization on the LG G8X ThinQ is fantastic. It has way less bugs when compared to the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max from the last 7 months of my usage. The ability to adapt to 2 different apps on 2 different displays, moving apps from one screen to another screen, everything is fantastic on this smartphone. Gestures work well, background memory management is fantastic, reading mode is present, dark mode looks great on the OLED display, features are aplenty, and there are a few bloatwares as well, which we have done a separate video on how to remove it as well. Also, the dual display gets adapted with the help of the software, and the keyboard and everything feels fantastic with the dual displays as well. Now let's talk about the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, which comes with the MIUI 12 based on Android 11, which is also very well polished. There is no ads on this device. It has a very well optimized software, but due to the mid-range chipset, the software feels sluggish at times, but that is not a major alarming thing in my opinion. Updates will be provided by Xiaomi on a regular basis, and also the issue that I have reported that Widevine L1 was decreased to Widevine L3 will be actually fixed in the next upcoming update. And also the smartphone will be getting the MIUI 12.5, which might be released in the month of May, which will improve everything further. Overall, the software optimization is fantastic on LG and better on LG, whereas the update frequency is better on Mi, and also the long-term support I think is better on Mi since the LG smartphone brand is shutting down. So I think this round is again a tie. Now let's talk about the security and locking. It might work because it is in front of the camera, but trust me guys, LG has probably the worst in-display fingerprint scanner on any smartphone that I have used. Especially this model LG G8X ThinQ fails almost 5 out of 10 times in my usage, and also there is no face unlock, so I use the number based unlock all the time, which is way better. Redmi on the other hand has a better fingerprint scanner, fast face unlock, which is less secure though, but it has a very fast unlocking process, and hence the physical reader with an AMOLED display on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max makes me feel that the unlocking department should go to Redmi in my opinion. Now let's talk about the service and support. LG mobile business has shut down, so there is no guarantee on the future of this smartphone LG G8X ThinQ. However, LG has promised to give 2 more years of Android and security update for their G lineup and also for their V lineup of smartphones, and also for their LG Wing, which we will be reviewing next week. And also that device will be getting 5 years of service support as well, which is fantastic to hear from a dying brand. Whereas Redmi Note 10 Pro Max on the other side is sure to get the Android 12 and Android 13 updates. Now let's talk about that secondary display. LG G8X ThinQ is on one side and all the other smartphones are on the other side. This is probably the biggest feature, that the ability to have the secondary display, and how many use cases that it provides. Endless possibilities arise when you use this phone with 2 displays. WhatsApp on one side, YouTube on the other, gallery on one side, chatting with a person on the other. 2 people using 2 different apps at the same instant of time, it's insane. Viewing the photo taken on one side while taking photo on the other. Using it as a gamepad, using the secondary display is just the USP of this device, and which has made this smartphone stand out from the crowd in this smartphone market. It can even charge with 2 displays attached with the Pogo pin adapter that has been provided inside the box, and this device is certainly a head turner in this crowded slab based glass smartphone market. And this is certainly a win for LG in this department, with its ability to wow the customers with flipping, closing, winging smartphones, and always innovative in terms of what they can provide next to the smartphone industry. The LG G8X ThinQ is available for around 25,000 on Amazon and on Flipkart and has sold in huge numbers in the last 7 to 8 months. And this device also comes with 6 months of free screen replacement policy for both the main screen and the secondary screen. And also it has features which a smartphone enthusiast certainly relishes in their smartphone usage cycle. Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, on the other hand, is probably the most value for money smartphone in the 20,000 price segment in my opinion. So if you have a budget of 25,000 and want to look out for a unique device, LG G8X ThinQ and also LG Wing with some bank offers will be a great choice. And if you're someone who is looking for a non-Chinese smartphone, then this can be a choice for you as well, since most smartphones that is present in the price segment and providing value for money are the smartphones from the Chinese brands. If I am given a choice, I would certainly go for LG G8X ThinQ or the LG Wing, which we will be reviewing next week. So if you don't want to miss the LG Wing, hit that subscribe button right now by pressing the bell notification. And that's it for this video, guys. If you guys have liked this video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends and support, because if you see the hard work that we put behind these videos, it is immense and the rewards that we get is very tiny in front of them. So hit that subscribe button, watch all our videos, comment below what you want to see improvement on our videos. Thank you for watching, guys.